Alright, so if we trace the throttle and choke connections, we've got this one right here. It goes to here in the carburetor. So we're going to loosen this up. And then the other one is down below and in here, and we'll loosen that up. And that goes right here. So we'll remove those. Alright, so this is just a 1/4 inch little bolt right there. Okay, and we'll tighten that back up a little bit, make sure it stays put. That cable's out of the way. I know this one needs a little help. Alright, yeah, this one is out of the way. And the next thing I'm going to do is remove the yellow lead here. And then we're going to disconnect the ground lead. So the book has the leads, the negative ground leads attached in different places. They suggest down here the engine mounting bolt, but these particular leads I see are just connected right here to the front of the engine. So let's disconnect those. And we'll put that screw back in there. There's another lead. Okay, this wire down here is the one that connects over to this side where it was wrapped around the positive battery cable. So let's just unwind that. I guess it was just wound around that cable for the sake of taking up the slack and making sure it didn't get near any moving parts in the engine. Alright. Alright. And up here is the front wiring harness. We'll just unplug that. I use that rag to wipe my hands off. There you go. So, okay. Let's go to the next step in the book. So the book is telling me to remove the PTO guard assembly, which, according to the picture, is something that's right here. But you can see already that there is no guard assembly on this one, so somebody must have removed it and never put it back. So the next step then will be to remove these belts. Belts are removed. Alright, so what the book is telling us is there's an engine mounting plate. And I'm assuming that's this metal plate in here that the engine is mounted to, eh? Well, it says that this bolt has to be removed. And then there's a nut in the back and 2 nuts on the other side. So this bolt gets removed, but those other nuts get loosened but not removed. So let's do that. I believe this is a 9/16. Alright, so there's that bolt covered in oil. And now we'll just loosen the nuts. Yeah, get a ratchet on this one. Time to get a breaker bar. Alright, loosen but don't remove, the book said. Okay, they're all loose. Alright, the next step here is to slide the engine forward so that the drive shaft is disconnected. Well, something came loose there, but might be disconnected in there. What I'm doing is I'm looking down here. Yeah, it looks like the drive shaft is disconnected. Alright, so I've got the chain hoist hooked up to the engine. We're going to just pick up the slack a little bit, and then the instructions say to remove the cap screws that the engine mounts to the mounting plate. one problem I have, the starter is right there. And the starter is actually kind of covering up the bolts or the nuts that I need to remove the engine. So I have to remove the starter. Alright, so after all this nonsense trying to get the 4 bolts out of the mounting plate, the engine mounting plate, that starter is in the way, and I just can't get the nuts that are under that. So I'm going to remove the whole mounting plate. It looks like it's held in place by some carriage bolts from underneath. So I'll pull those out. I got the tension, the weight of the engine kind of supported by the hoist. So we'll pull those screws out, those carriage bolts. Yep, carriage bolts. Stand back. This is very heavy. Stand back. This is very heavy. Stand back.
I'm not lifting it at all.
Alright, so I got the engine out, as you can see. But this mounting plate wasn't necessarily supposed to come out with it. You're supposed to pull this bolt nut and on the other side as well, but let me show you right here. The starter would not allow access to that nut, so I had to pull that whole plate out. So there it is, the Kohler Magnum 20 engine out of the Sunstar. Now the biggest reason we pulled this engine out was because we need to get access to the coil, and the coil's up against a flywheel, and the flywheel was up against this thing. So now we'll get this on the workbench and pull this cover off and see what's going on.